Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great weekend out there so far. Here to bring in the latest information that we have on many things in this morning's video. The first thing we'll cover is the tropics. The National Hurricane Center now has an area of interest for this area we've been talking about over the last several days. So, of course, we need to speak on this, give you all the latest information per model guidance from overnight into this morning. That's exactly what we're going to do. After we get done covering that, we will give you some updated information on some severe weather expected for this week. Probably right in the middle of the work week. I do think we'll have a few day severe weather risk. Is this going to be a significant severe weather outbreak? I do not think so, but we are in what we call secondary severe weather season, which is typically the fall when we have the changing of the seasons from summer to winter. Summer, fall, and winter. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you're transitioning from winter, spring, and summer. We have the main severe weather season. Now we are in secondary severe weather season. So we have severe weather risks, so we're going to speak on that. We'll break down who could potentially see what and just kind of talk about the ingredients driving it, I would say. And then we'll cover what's going to happen weather-wise across the entire lower 48 for your Sunday. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rolling this morning. So this is the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, and we're starting to get a lot of shower and storm activity down here now. You see the colors. This indicates colder cloud tops, which means we just have that convection, that shower and storm activity. The wider kind of colors, the black colors here, that means we have colder cloud tops, maybe deeper convection, taller updrafts. So we are starting to see a little bit of that down here in the Caribbean. Now, is anything going to develop in the short term? I really do not think it is, but we have to see how consistent this is over the next few days as we kind of move into the work week. As of right now, we have no tropical systems. No named storms, nothing like that. But we are certainly watching this area down here over the next several days. And speaking of the next several days, this is the latest. It literally just dropped a couple minutes ago. Latest information, latest outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We now have an area of interest up. I'm just going to go on and click it. Has a 30% chance. We have a 30% chance of tropical development in this yellow area over the next 7 days. And development means depression, low-level circulation, or a named storm. Next name is Patty. As of now, it's pretty low. It's a low risk, but this has already bumped up from a 20 to a 30% chance from yesterday into this morning. So if it goes up another 10% chance, we'll see this show up in orange. That could happen sometime over the next few updates, 24 hours. We'll have to see what it looks like when we make the video tomorrow morning. But as of now, just a low risk of development down here. But the interesting thing of all this is there's just the fact that the National Hurricane Center has now dubbed an area of interest for this. Okay, so let's go over all the latest model guides. The GFS from this morning. We'll start this off for tomorrow morning, October the 28th, and we'll just kind of zip through the next few days pretty quickly. So we're getting into the 29th, Tuesday. We're getting into Wednesday morning. And of course, if you're tuning in, you're a new viewer, you're not sure what's going on. The GFS, I'll just kind of give you a brief summary. The GFS has been showing this for quite some time now. The Euro and most other model guidance has not really shown what the GFS has been showing. But I will tell you, the GFS has been backing up the timeline a little bit. But what does the latest one show? Wednesday, then we get into Thursday. We're starting to see this broad area of low pressure down here, even an L showing up deep down here in the Caribbean. And I would just focus on the fact that there's a lot of green down here, which tells us there's just a lot of tropical activity. And then we get into Friday morning, that low pressure begins to deepen. And folks, I do want you to keep your eyes on this over here. Model guidance has been liking tropical development over here too. So it's kind of two areas. And then we start to make our way into Saturday morning, and there's that other lower pressure. And here's an all-out tropical storm as we get into November 2nd, this coming weekend. Okay, and then it just gets kind of weird. After this, we get about a week out. This is next Sunday morning. We have an all-out hurricane in the Caribbean, and we have a tropical storm right here, it looks like. What happens after this? It's anybody's guess, but it does develop a major hurricane south of Jamaica, ends up impacting Jamaica. That is not a forecast. It's just one model run. But, we have a tropical storm, close to a hurricane right here and a major hurricane right here off the GFS. So this model continues just to go crazy with these tropical systems. And of course, we'll go 10 days out, and who knows what's going to happen. But we do have 2 hurricanes 10 days from now showing up on the GFS, but it's not a forecast. What does the Euro show? Same thing. We'll start off tomorrow morning. We get into Tuesday. We get into Wednesday. And, we start to get into Wednesday. We get this, a week of a low pressure, just a broad area of low pressure down here. I would just call it that. And then we get into Thursday. That's still down there. Nothing substantial, though. We get into Friday. And there's, the GFS at this point is already starting to show a tropical storm developing. The Euro just consistently keeps showing lower chances of development. You got this energy right here, not really forming into a deeper low. And for example, guys, let's take it into Sunday morning. This is a week from today. We have 1,007 millibar low, a little bit of a lower pressure right here. So we'll compare this to what the GFS is showing 1 week from today. GFS has a hurricane in the Caribbean and even like a tropical storm over here. Euro shows those 2 areas of energy, but nothing compared to what the GFS is showing. We go on and move this to day 9 or 10. And I will say now the Euro is showing something here. It's a little bit of a lower pressure here. Has some sort of tropical depression, weak tropical storm, kind of between Jamaica, Cuba, and like Haiti. Okay, so that's interesting. We're watching it. It does kind of peter out, if you will, with land interaction with the Greater Antilles. What about the Euro AI model, which has done really well? Same thing. We'll kind of move throughout the week. Just a lot of green. We get into Saturday. There's a low showing up here. We get into Sunday. You got a low pressure kind of in the same area as the Euro has it. And then we just take it all the way to the end of the run. And we do have just tropical energy down here. Excuse me. But nothing deep developing. Now, I can tell you the Canadian model really wants to develop this now. Okay, Canadians trying to take sides with the GFS now. And now we have an all-out hurricane developing quickly in the Caribbean sometime next weekend into early next week. So 10 days from now, we have a strong hurricane starting to kind of drift actually northwest in the northwest area. Northwest area, in the western area of the Caribbean. Got my words twisted up a little bit. So it's interesting now, and the Canadians been showing this for about half a day now, almost 24 hours. The Canadian likes the idea of development now too. Now, what about the GEFS ensemble? Makes up 21 members, and this is the latest run here. Continues to show many members developing. That doesn't mean we're going to have many tropical systems. Just makes up 21 members. There's all the members on an output for us. And it does show 2 separate signals here. I'll draw on this a little bit. It shows this, and it shows this. So 2 distinct signals here. It's interesting. So we keep going. And there it is. There's one signal right here. There's one signal right here. And we keep this going. And this one just sort of spreads out. But this one's still congealed together about, at the 8 to 9 day range. And then after that, everything just gets kind of weird. But, I mean, the brightening of the colors, kind of the orange and yellows, that's where we have our tropical system. What about the EPS from overnight? This makes up 51 members. And, of course, the signal isn't as loud. It actually lights a signal of something developing here more than down here in the Caribbean. Okay? But eventually, this one gets a little bit louder than this one. But once again, 2 separate signals. One right here. And one right here. I probably should have drew that circle a little bit wider, but you get what I'm saying. So where does this kind of drift? Does this drift here? I mean, does it drift here? Does anything even develop? I really think something will. It's just, is it going to be as crazy as what the GFS is showing? But you do have a signal on the Euro ensemble, just not as loud and not as close to us in time. But the chances of a tropical depression developing between like the 28th and Halloween, which is right here in front of us, we're starting to get to that 80 to 90% chance off the Euro ensemble. Okay, so we could get a tropical depression that develops down here sometime later this week. It's very possible. So that's an update on the tropics, folks. We'll continue to keep you updated on that. But I do want to mention, the risk of severe weather upcoming. What you're looking at here is winds in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere, like 18, 20,000 feet up in the air. And of course, I kind of moved my cursor over that. That's like a 70 to 80, 85 knot mid-level jet. So this is moving on out. We got a tall ridge building over the middle of the country as we're moving into this afternoon. And we kind of keep this back in motion for you folks. And you're going to notice a bunch of purple show up on your screen right here. This tells us we have a lot of flow moving over the Rockies. This is a big trough digging down, a dip in the jet. So you see how this is dipping like this? It's kind of going like that and then coming up pretty dramatically like this. And then we have kind of a build up in this area and then it drops like that. That is a ridge right here situating itself across the eastern U.S., bringing a pretty warm last several days of October. So this dip in the jet, you're going to have energy kind of shoot down here and then right across the middle of the country in the form of some sort of short wave or just low pressure, just energy. Okay. And then we got flow moving around the base of this ridge and then flow being yanked up by these low pressures and just the southwesterly flow right here. So we got moist air trying to build into this area, but we'll talk more about that here in a second. So, but anyways, just look at when you look at this, think there's a lot of kinematic energy, a lot of wind energy, and a lot of lift in the atmosphere for energy, for thunderstorm development. And then that flow really positions itself right over the middle of the country in the middle portion of this work week. And this kind of sets up shop for a few days. So this is going to bring kind of the avenue, the road network for low pressures and storms right over the middle of the country. A lot of flow right here, a lot of lift in the atmosphere. This is going to bring the shot of some showers and storms and probably even a couple days of severe weather. So, and after that, you know, the pattern gets different, I would say. It gets maybe zonal for a bit. And we are watching, let's just go on and fast forward this. I do want to watch a stronger dip in the jet coming maybe next week, but I don't want to talk too much on that right now because that could change. But as far as looking at the dew points, this is a thermodynamic. Thermodynamics, remember, low-level moisture, Cape level storm energy, how high are your temperatures. Kinematics is wind energy. Yeah, so let's start off tomorrow morning. We already have moisture building into the middle of the country. Dew points in the 50s and 60s. Once you start to really get in the 60s, you really start to get that moist level that supports severe weather. You know, these storms like moist air, just like tropical systems do. Okay, so we get into Monday afternoon, already getting a spike in low-level moisture. I mean, all the way up to the U.S.-Canadian border. Still not super humid, but it's certainly building. And then we get into Tuesday. Okay, look at this little pool of dew points above 60 degrees up in Iowa. You see this little kind of narrow corridor of dew points into 60-plus range right through here, right across the southern and central plains. And then we get into Wednesday. Even deeper moisture begins to build in. And we got dew points all the way up into the 60s, all the way into like Wisconsin. Okay, but dew points in the 60s, a pool of it in the south central U.S., up the Mississippi Delta into the mid-Mississippi Valley. So here it comes. That secondary severe weather season and event that is possible here. It seems like it happens every single year. And then we start to get into Thursday, and of course we need to watch Thursday. This becomes much more zonal, if you will. You know, the trough begins to tilt. But we got a lot of moist air building down here and setting up down here Thursday afternoon. Dew points in the 60s and 70s for like Louisiana, Texas. So we're going to have some energy. I mean, look at this. Look at this area of dew points above 60 way up here. I mean, this is getting into the last couple of days of October, guys. So moist air for severe weather. Check that out. Now, what about the Cape levels? You kind of build this up and we get into, let's just take it into Tuesday. Cape levels spike into 900 to 1,000 joules per kilogram. If you're thinking, Mitch, I don't know what that means. That's just storm energy. So could have some thunderstorms in this area Tuesday. A severe weather risk for sure. And then we start to get into Wednesday and we could have Cape levels spiking over 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram in the mixed layer. So definitely Wednesday is a day we watch for severe weather also. And then we kind of look at Thursday. Is there going to be enough lift down here for thunderstorms? We'll have to watch. But definitely shows storm energy down here to the south. Okay. So as far as what this looks like on paper, if you will, as far as precipitation, you know, we start to get into Tuesday. Here's our first low pressure right here, 991, ejecting off the Rockies, bringing some snow across Wyoming and the central Rockies. And you can see the line of storms, and it keeps showing this where lines of storms develop after like in the middle of the night, like in Kansas, areas in Nebraska, Iowa, up to Minnesota. So that's interesting, the timing of it. And then we get into Wednesday, and it shows a lot of thunderstorms. Could be strong to severe across the middle of the country right here. You see these splotches of yellow and orange all the way up here to Wisconsin, all the way down here to the Gulf Coast. It's interesting. Low pressure kind of starting to move more so west to east now instead of southwest to northeast. And we keep this going, and then we get in our Thursday and look at all those thunderstorms showing up down here for the south central U.S. Is there going to be enough flow with this low pressure departing? We'll have to watch and see. And then we get into Friday, and this system unfortunately weakens. And, you know, what stinks about the rain thing, guys, is for my folks here in the southeast, is it just really looks like a lot of areas in the southeast might not get a whole lot of rain over the next week again. Some areas got rain yesterday in the Carolinas, for example. My house didn't get anything. Nothing. So we're at we're like day 30 without rain. So, you know, as far as just the severe weather, this is for Tuesday. Okay. Weatherwise, great site. Download it. It's on the app. If you got Apple, download Weatherwise. It's a fantastic free app. I'm telling you guys, it will be available for Android here in the next couple weeks. So definitely check it out. But I'm going to start using these guys. But there's already a level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather. And this could upgrade to a slight risk. I could see it definitely almost down to Wichita, through Lincoln, Omaha, Sioux Falls, Sioux City, Minneapolis, all the way up to Duluth, folks. Severe weather possible. And then we look at day 4. They already have a slight risk for this huge area for day 4, which is our Wednesday, across the southern plains into the central U.S. This includes Oklahoma City, up to Kansas City, Springfield, all the way down to Dallas. So severe weather is definitely looking likely. You know, just to sort of mention how much rain could fall, and I meant to pull this up and I totally forgot, so my bad on having to do this on the fly. But as far as how much rain could fall over the next, let's do this, over the next couple, let's just go a week out. Let's go 1 week out. A lot of beneficial rain on the way. Very possible over the middle of the country, as basically the storm track sets up over the middle of the country. So an opportunity for a lot of rain is on the way. So that's good news. The Rockies could get a lot of snow. This is mainly higher elevation driven, but Cascades, Rockies, etc., could certainly get a lot of snow over these multiple storm systems sweeping over the area. So as far as what's happening today, folks, there is a cold front sort of draped across areas of the south. A little bit of a cold air damming setup over the Carolinas. It's actually trended towards a weaker event, which is unfortunate because I wanted a little bit of cooler air today along with some drizzle, but I don't know if I'm going to get it. But anyways, we got a storm system that's sweeping across areas of Ontario. We're getting a little bit of moisture up here in the UP of Michigan. Let me know what you're seeing. Even trying to show a little bit of snow away from the lakes. But this energy will try to get all the way to New England and will bring a little bit of snow for higher elevations in New England. And ignore all these H's, but there is a storm system, kind of the first of many, as a big-time trough with a cold front associated with it right here, will sweep across the western U.S. and bring multiple storm system opportunities. And this is already moving into the Pacific Northwest right now. Watches, warnings, and advisories. We got winter weather advisories up here for areas of the Cascades and the Rockies. We got freeze warnings up for the Delmarva area. It's cold with a trough that's just dug pretty aggressively just in this area. Some red flag warnings up in the pink, some wind advisories with this storm system out west. And then we look at the chances of excessive rainfall below 5%, so it does not show up. So no real risk of flooding today. And then the chances of thunderstorms, there could be a risk for some storms along the Carolina coastline. And then, of course, we're going to have some thunderstorms that are likely in the Pacific Northwest over here. But no risk of severe weather expected for today. The southeast, I think we'll get a lot of drizzle, especially in the northern sections of North Carolina, northern sections of South Carolina. I said the same thing yesterday. North Carolina with a cold air damming setup in place, so a lot of drizzle, much needed rain. You know, I don't know if we're going to get any rain here in the Midlands of South Carolina. If you're wondering, Georgia, I don't know. I doubt it. Could have an opportunity for a little bit of shower activity in central Georgia, central South Carolina later this evening. I really hope so. It's just starting to really become a bummer that we just cannot get rain around the southeast. But a lot of people got some good rains yesterday across the Carolinas, eastern Tennessee, so it was good to see. I know they had a concert in Charlotte yesterday, and it actually had a lightning delay, so pretty wild stuff. But the Northeast today, it's quiet this morning, but then a wintry scene could develop a little bit later this evening. If you live in the higher elevations, the valley is going to be rain. The higher elevations could see some snow. And it could be a little bit lower in elevation too, but check out the snow breaking out across areas of Vermont, New Hampshire, northern New York, the Adirondacks. And this will last until the overnight hours. And I think we'll wake up tomorrow morning to quieter conditions, but the potential for white-capped mountaintops. So that'll be pretty cool. Snowfall between now and the next 48 hours. A couple inches possible in the Adirondacks. A little bit of snow in higher elevations of Vermont, New Hampshire. And then looking at Maine, dusting is possible. Not a lot. The south central U.S., it's a pretty quiet weather day, folks. Nothing going on. That could change later this week with a severe weather risk that could come into the picture. But today, it's a wonderful Sunday. It's dry. It's quiet. The north central U.S., that energy will head off to your north. But not expecting anything across the north central U.S. tomorrow. It's a pretty quiet weather day. And then out west, I know I don't have everybody shown here, but everybody is quiet except the Pacific Northwest. You'll continue to get these rounds of showers and storms. And then as we get into this afternoon, more of a convective element to it. So if you live, in the coastal range, the valleys right there between the Cascades and the coastal range of Oregon and Washington, you certainly could get some rumbles of thunder. Higher elevation snow will be falling. You'll start to get the snow that falls in the higher elevations of Idaho and then western Montana. And just round after round after round of shower and storm activity. Nothing too crazy, but rainfall between now and the next 48 hours. Definitely several inches of precipitation. Of course, you got the mountain shadow here, the rain shadow in the valley, not as much, but the Cascades, coastal range will certainly get several inches of precipitation in some cases. And then the snow definitely will start to pile up in those higher elevations, even a little bit in the Olympic Mountains. So temperatures today, cold front boundary right into here. It'll be chilly in North Carolina. A little bit of a shock to your system. Northern sections of South Carolina, only in the 50s potentially. But it'll be a weird temperature gradient today, across areas of the South. But it'll be warm in the deep South. It'll be cold, downright cold for late October standards for the Northeast. Typical kind of fall-like day across the Great Lakes region. And then, we got the warmth building across the middle of the country, 70s all the way up into just about Canada, and a little bit of cooler air moving into the west. That's all I got, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless all y'all, and have a wonderful Sunday. Talk to you again soon.